What's up, guys? So I've got this legendary, the Legend 1/10 scale truck. It's essentially the exact same thing as the Hosim 9125 and the Xinlehong, if that's how you say it, 9125 truck. I've gone through a couple of differentials on this. I've already replaced the front one with the Legendary brand, and then I pieced together and was able to fix the back one. And just today I was taking over some jumps, and all of a sudden this well, you can't see it now, but this actually, the cup actually broke right off the differential. So I had already previously, before I cobbed this, not cobbed, I had, from when I replaced the front one, I had saved what was good of that, and I was able to piece it together and screw the one outer cup onto the main differential parts and make it work. I ended up ordering the Hosim brand replacement differential. I'm not sure if it's going to work better or not. I'm hoping it is. It seems to. This is it. This is the new one. I've already taken it apart and I put some red grease in. I went to Walmart and picked up a container of this multi-duty complex. It's grease. It's way more than I'll ever need for anything like this, but it was only like a couple of bucks. So yeah, you just take out these 4 screws, and I put some grease in there, and you can see the red in there now, and it works much smoother than when it originally came. It comes with a little bit of grease in it, but not much. So but I didn't by any means fill it up solid, because that would be too much resistance and probably put some strain on the engine or the motors. But one thing I did notice when I took it apart is these cups actually have 4 little teeth that bite in to the gear on the insides. So we'll see. That's what seems to be happening, is these cups, the old ones, they've only got 2, the Legendary brand ones, they've only got 2 little teeth. So it's like if you hit something hard enough, those 2 teeth shear off, and then that's it, they're done. So we'll see. But Legendary doesn't really have any good videos for changing out the rear diff. Now I have the updated truck. Like, instead of an actual toggle switch, I've got a push button for the on-off. And there was another thing, and I found this out when I had to change the steering servo on this, that in the video that they have, you just undid a couple of screws up here, and then you undid a couple screws here, and then this whole part tips forward. And on mine, this updated truck, they've changed a couple things with this body here, and you have to take out way more screws and take off another piece. It's not the end of the world, but it is like 8 more screws you got to take out, and you kind of have to do the same thing with this. So I figured I'd make a video quick on how to replace the rear differential the easiest way that I have found. So what I'm going to do is I'll point out which screws have to be taken out, and then I will just pause the video because you don't need to see me take the screws out. For starters, and I already did take these screws out, the rear bumper, there's 2 screws on top, and then there's those 2 screws that I've already taken out there, and then it essentially just slides out like that. It's got this little thing, and it just slides in there. So set them aside. Now the next step is you undo the 4 screws holding the shocks on. So go ahead and do that. And I'm just going to pause the video, and then I'll start it again after I take the screws out. All right, so 4 shock screws are taken out, so you can kind of pivot them out of the way. The next screws to take out are these upper control arm screws here. You undo them, and again, I'm going to pause and be right back. All right, so these guys they've only got maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe 1/4 inch of threads on them, but they're essentially pins if you haven't taken this apart before. So you undo that, pull them out. All right, so now one thing that's kind of neat is once you get to this point, is grab a hold of this, pick it right up, and everything's just going to kind of fold open. And as I said, that one was really broken, but it'll kind of hold itself up there nicely for you to continue. Where did that part go? Oh, there it is. So you can see, yeah, there's the problem right there. There's normally a little pin sticking off of that with two little nubs on it that bite into the differential. So not good. So, all right. So now the next thing to do is this has a bunch of screws now that you have to take out. Again, this is the updated one. So if you're doing this on a Hosim or the really Chinese name one, I apologize, I don't know how to say it. Or if you have the older version of the Laegendary truck, there's less screws to take out. But for mine, for this one, you have to take out this one, and then there's these 4 screws in the 4 corners in the battery compartment. You have to take out these 2. You have to take out these 2. So then that's the first step, because then this whole upper compartment comes off. So let me take them out and I'll be right back. All right, so I got the 4 screws out from in there, and those 2 up there, and then the 4 outside ones here. So now this battery compartment lifts up and off. So you can see it had those little ears that hook down there. And I usually, I'll keep the little screws in for that hold for inside the box. I just keep them right in the corner to help keep them organized. So now, I'm sorry if this lighting's not great. So now the last screws to take out, there's these 4 across the back here. Take those 4 out. Let's once you get them out, I'm pretty sure that's it. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's it. I can't remember. Now I will say, keep track of your screws, because these 4 here are shorter than the 4 bigger screws that you took out before. Those 4. There's them. There's those 4, and then there's those 4. So if you gotta have a piece of paper or a paper towel and like label corners and keep screws, and just for doing it, to keep track. But once you take those 4 screws out, you gotta give this a little wiggle, and actually I think I had to do it with a little flathead screwdriver. Hang on, I gotta set this down for a second. Sorry about that. All right, so I came in here on the side and just get it worked apart a little bit between the body there, both sides. Actually, might be enough. There we go. All right, just kind of peel it back, and there we have the motors. So if you ever have to replace the motors as well, there you go. That's just the same thing, is to get into replace a motor or the drive shaft or whatever. But here's the old one. Snapped right off there. But so that was in there like that. Make sure it can only go in one way. Sorry, I keep going in the wrong spot. It can only go in one way, but just, the big gear goes on the right hand side as you're looking with the car facing towards you. The big gear goes on the right side. So, like I said, I already packed this thing with grease, and I am going to actually throw, while I've got it apart, I'm going to throw a little extra grease in where the gear goes. I'm trying to do it. Hold the phone and guide the grease here. Throw some down in there. Not a ton, but a little extra lube on it wouldn't hurt. A little extra on the gear. The first time I took it apart, it actually did have some lube on it. So we'll call that good. That's got to be more than enough. All right. All right. So that's that. That's all there is to it. Maybe I'll throw a little on the teeth here. There. So now she's all set. And now it's literally just a matter of doing everything back in reverse here. So flip that on there, and make sure when you're putting things back together, you know, don't force anything. It's all plastic. If it's not going, double check. Make sure you don't have a wire that's pinching, or you know, something's not quite seated right. So it could be anything. But that's essentially it. Um, and maybe I'll do another video because I want to take this front diff apart because I actually have the good grease for it now. I tried to put oil in it, but they're not sealed, you know, sealed well. So maybe I'll do a separate video on adding some grease to the front there. All right. Hope this helps you guys. If you got any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below, and I'll you know, answer them best to my abilities for you. As far as upgrades, I don't know if you've noticed, but these I've got the green rims here. My set of wheels that came with it, they were they worked well, but what ended up happening was one of the center hubs actually broke out of it, so I was down to 3 good wheels. So I went down to a local hobby shop, and I found these guys. These are actually Traxxas brand tires, so they were like, I think, $28 a piece, and so they're kind of expensive, or not 28 a piece. I'm sorry, 28 for 2 of them. So by the time you buy 4 tires, it was expensive. But I'm hoping because they're Traxxas brand tires, they're gonna last a while. But these are literally the exact same size, width and diameter. It's just it's like the equivalent of a you know, bigger rim. Um, you know, the other one had more rubber, but these are the same outer diameter. It's just bigger rims on these things. So they got good grip, and yeah, they're pretty tacky, especially if you're on a carpet or something. You know, you gun it, the thing will pop a wheelie pretty easy. So, all right, well, I hope this helped. Subscribe if you want, and I may do more videos. Like I say, I do want to take this front apart and put some grease in that differential, so maybe I'll make that a video in itself. All right, have a good one, guys. Thanks.